There's Horgasian. Queen is expecting you, Knight Commander, so I shall not detain you. We can talk later. Ah, sweet. Camp Quartermaster at your service. How may I help you? Need to sell all this stuff. Sell you anything that doesn't have a nice little circle around it. I usually save like these weapons for later. And when I really, really need money, I cash them in. But you never know, like, when one of these can come to use. Keep barding with me. Wait, hold up. Are these stronger than the ones I have? If they are, I'm gonna give it to my tank. I should have checked that first. Actually, that was one of them. This is heavy shield, 2 base armor. But it doesn't say. It says melee proficiency. Oh, it's actually a weapon. Right, this is unarmed. Okay, I see. Okay. And then I already did this. Daggers, weapons. Do you have any scrolls, sir? Man, you have a lot of good weapons. And armor. Knight's Challenge. Interesting. Okay. Camping rations and supplies. Let's just grab a handful of these. Gotta save us that time. Alright, I'm gonna save on buying this stuff until I feel like I really need to. Alright. Seem really good. These are really good. Whenever the wielder +2 great lands a hit against a new target with its first time, the next successful attack against the same target deals... Ooh, that's good. Great club. I might give that to him too. So he has at least like 2 different types of attack. Yeah, look at my alignment. I love landing in the circles. I think it's so much fun to be like at the circle. I'll deal with these guys later. Okay. What other vendors do we have? Do we have someone with restoration scrolls? Unless the game was polite to me. And it wasn't. You can see it wasn't polite to me. Chapel Tit. We outfitted the tent to be used as a chapel. Even the less pious crusaders will come here to say prayer when final battle is upon. I've seen it happen in my previous campaigns. Altar of Seren healing. Okay.
Can't make the demons wait.
Thought there might be a vendor. These crusaders hanging out. Yeah, so I've examined the campsite.
Is that a trap?
Anonymous pamphlet. I spit on the streets of Kenabris. I spit on the granite walls and its stained glass window. If tomorrow the ground trembles, splits apart, and devours the cursed city, I will not shed one tear. No one here, not a single soul, deserves any compassion. Everyone who lives in the city is a criminal. Who the hell wrote this? If there were any justice in this world, every one of them would be hanging from the gallows. Prelate Hullrun, the Queen of Galfrey, chief among them. Ask anyone on the street what they know of the mongrels. The answer will become silence, or the lowered eyes of the scoundrel who knows their crimes but doesn't want to think about it. Mongrels, a disgusting nickname which the residents of the city have given to the brave crusade heroes who defeated the forces of evil but paid for it with their health. Covered with scabs and tumors, bloated and gnarled, they were no longer beautiful enough to be tolerated by the very people they had saved. As a reward for their heroism, the city dwellers exiled them to the sewer and damp caves beneath the city. The author of the words went down there and spoke with them. And I'll have you know, the ugliest of them is more noble than all the paladins of Mendev, not to mention the head-chopping prelate and his murderous queen. And if any pretend that today the city dwellers aren't responsible for the criminals of their grandfather, the crime of their grandfathers, then I will spit in their face. For the grandchildren of the exiled are still down there, crawling in the mud and eating garbage. And everyone who knows about this and does nothing, and everyone who should know but prefers blissful ignorance, I say they are guilty, and they repeat the same crime every day. And as long as this doesn't change, any citizen who desires to fight a demon should take a knife and stab themselves in the stomach. For your city has already rotten, and you are no better than the demons. If anyone would repent and right this terrible wrong, they should turn their weapon on the prudish paladins who preach good but defend an order that flies in the face of justice. Down with the paladins, down with the prelate Hullrun, down with the Queen Galfrey. I'm going to take this literature. We took back Kenabris. We'll take back Dresden soon. Okay. Hey, what's up, Roach? A group of soldiers talking loudly, laughing joyfully, and passing around a flask. So, picture this. My sword is by the fire. There are 2 goblins about to snatch it, and 3 more are digging through my tent. I'm sat in bushes wearing just my mail shirt, wondering what the blast to do. An old mercenary taught me about the mail shirt. You can't sleep in armor, but it's not so bad in mail once you get used to it. Too bad no one told me not to go into the bushes without a sword. So what did you do? What did I do? I barked like crazy. Goblins are afraid of dogs, you know? So they all went wild and started running around. I spot my sword and they spot me. So I jump over to the fire wearing nothing but my mail shirt and grab my sword. And I yell in a big voice, "Oh, inheritor, grant me the power to crush these filthy creatures." My sword's shining, the goblins are screaming. I jump to attack them and they fight back, but I fought them off somehow. But ever since then, I never take a nap without my weapon. Wow. Sela takes a sip from the flask. Aha, that's some story. Hey, stop gulping. Leave some for me. We've only just set off, and you're already drinking, and with a queen in the camp. Stop this at once. The knights quickly snap to attention. Sheila raises the flask and says loudly, "Right you are, Commander Tearblade. We are but drinking to the queen's health. Sheila, show some discipline." Sheila becomes serious and puts the flask down. "My apologies, Commander. You've performed a lawful action." "That's better. You're a paladin in an army, not a mercenary on a raiding party. Make sure you act like it." Man, I wish I could be chaotic. I think my next run I'm probably gonna do chaotic good. We got a Cyclops in our party? Commander. Grandma Gretlin, the director, a well-dressed old dwarf, oh hey, the actors, is lecturing a motley company, shaking her ladle at them belligerently. Noticing you, she flings up her hands. "Good afternoon, you commandeers." Commander-ness? Wow, okay, that's not what I thought she was going to say. "Do you remember us?" "I do remember you." We're the crew of the Next Door Theater Company. The ones saved in Canterbury, back when you were commanderness yet. As you can see, we come onto the campaign with you. We signed up to clean pots and mend the soldiers' clothes. Keeping up a theater is expensive, so we'll have to take side jobs. But we don't stop what we're doing. We're going to be putting on a play about your legendary feats. Oh, that's very cool then. Of course, the crowd scenes are difficult. We can't find the people to play the hordes of demons, and we've decided against using a ritual to summon real demons. Luckily, we have a master, Kim. He's invented a way to solve this problem using sound. We got a pig and some piglets who ran away from the burned out village. The gloom and the husky half-orc mumble softly. We put the piglets in a box and scare them a little, and they sound... and the sound they make is just like an approaching demon horde. Good lord. Leave the piglets alone. But the most important question is, of course, choosing the lead actor who will play the Great Knight Commander. We have had a right Barney over it, breaking a number of lances as well as a shovel, a rolling pin, and a set of back scratchers. But we just couldn't decide to, no matter what. Maybe you can help us. We have 2 candidates that are most suited to the role. One will have the honor of conveying your heroism upon the stage, Commander. A Cyclops actor? He's completely tame, believe me. Has a few issues with articulating, but what powerful physique. We'll make him a nice costume, wash him up, and brush his hair. Truth be told, in our show, you mainly just make short heroic exclamations at fateful moments like onward, or we'll never give up, or my heart burns with courage. Memkin can definitely handle the script. Don't you have any other actors who vaguely resemble me? We're a small and poorly funded theater, and we only have a few actors, but they're also talented. One of a kind. I have chosen ones that are best fit for your role. Trust me, my vision. I have more than a few successful roles. I'm to be played by gnome? Not a gnome, 2 gnomes. Rumbledin and Harfun are twins. One of them sits on the shoulders and puts on a long coat so they can play the tall character. They switch places every so often so they get their moment of fame. And that way, they each only have to learn half the script. Alright, I have made my decision. I will be played by the Cyclops. Wonderful. Sorry we took our way from all the important things, heroes and commanders too. I love how the Cyclops throws a fist up in the air. We're off to rehearsal. I mean, first we'll watch the pots and then we're off to rehearsal. Let's go, you lazy lumps. Don't embarrass old grandma now. That's awesome. Cyclops is all stoked.
Commander, I'm satisfied with the troop review, but I do not expect they will be sufficient for the task. You will have to prove yourself a shrewd leader and hire the necessary troops with the provided funds. I have chosen a target for your campaign, and that target is Dresden, our lost outpost within the World Wound. The Sword of Valor was kept there, a banner that was once carried by Iomade herself. Our greatest relic was lost when the city fell. I should make one thing clear from the start. The Sword of Valor is no mere symbol, but a powerful weapon against demons. The holiness of the banner weakens them and robs them of one of their most dangerous abilities, teleportation. A forced march to Dresden awaits you. The Sword of Valor is kept somewhere within the Citadel. The demons probably think it's a hunting trophy. Its recovery is just as important as retaking the city itself. I hope the task is clear. I'm sending 2 specialists to help you, along with the soldiers. A historian, Nura Denduar, and a cleric, Soziel Vainik. One of the famous inquisitors of the Church of Iomade also wants to talk to you. The Honorable Leota, whom everyone calls Hawkblade.
I do not wish to keep you, Commander. The matter I must discuss with you is extremely important, but it is not directly related to the Crusade. You no doubt wish to meet your new comrades and speak with Her Majesty. Therefore, I shall leave you now, but I ask that you seek me out in the camp at your earliest convenience.
Hi! Listen, it's amazing here. It's like I'm in a ballad. There's knights in shining armor, deadly dangers, glorious feats. We are going to show those demons. I'm so tired of sitting in a library reading books about history. It's time I took part in it.
I'm glad to help our cause, Commander. If you have some time later, I'd like to speak with you further.
You'll have plenty of time to talk. You're the Knight Commander's people now, his trusted advisors and companions. Now then, will you please leave us? Irabeth, you can go too. Some actions may be deemed bold, or even extreme, and beyond those, there are some you might call the Queen's last resort. I am not a simple monarch. I am at war with the Abyss, a war which has lasted over 100 years. I cannot allow myself the luxury of caution. In you, I see a chance, and I am willing to stake everything on it. However, you cannot blame me for putting you in charge of the Crusade. I only formalized what had already happened in the hearts and minds of many. People spoke of the power that descended upon you and helped you save the Wardstones from corruption and total destruction. Word of this feat quickly spread far beyond the borders of Mendev. There was no other person who could better fit the role of Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade. Of course, I shall answer. That's a good question. Its walls were built by dwarf craftsmen, and the power of the Sword of Valor protected the city. Alas, where raging hordes failed, a single lying tongue was all they needed to succeed. The demoness Minago convinced a young and ambitious crusader named Staunton Vane that the banner belonged on the battlefield. He went on a daring and unapproved raid, and the banner ended up in the enemy's hands. The city fell soon after. Ever since then, for 7 decades, it has served as a citadel for the forces of the Abyss. Oh, really? I wasn't informed of this. After Dresden fell because of Staunton, he was nearly sentenced to death. He deserved it. In wartime, men are hanged for far less. But you have no idea what a terrible sight it is. A raging crowd of crusaders baying for blood. Never have my fighters looked so much like the demons we are fighting. I commuted Staunton's sentence and stripped him of his rank. Not just for him, but for my army and my country. We are not Hell Knights. We do not maintain discipline with public executions. Justice was nowhere to be found that day. The army had become a mob, and the tribunal was a prelude to what that mob craved: bloody carnage. I am the Queen of Mendev, and the leader of the Crusades. Justice served on my behalf cannot look like that. Everyone we saw today at the parade. First among them, the Eagle Watch, who remain a powerful force thanks to Irabeth's resourcefulness. Also marching with you are several minor knightly orders, as the minor volunteer units like to be called. And finally, I have personally selected some recruits from Neurosian. They have little in the way of battle experience, but great determination and a thirst to prove themselves. I've always thought that an army benefits from at least one such unit. These forces, as I said, are not enough for a march on Dresden. You will have to hire additional troops with the funds that have been provided to you. But for a brave commander, and I hope you are one, that is just the beginning. If you retake Dresden, recover the holy power of the Sword of Valor, and gain a foothold in the region, then new armies will join under your banner. The Fifth Crusade is only beginning. Many battles and victories lie ahead.
Oops, I'm on mute. So like, you know, our real life crusades became like a business venture. So I'm wondering that if her crusades are somewhat a business venture too. Okay. It's been decades and no one has managed to retake the city. What do you think? Why do you think we're different?
We have a chance now that we haven't seen in decades. But it's more than that. You created this chance for us by foiling the demon's plans in Canabris. The army who attacked the city came straight from Dresden. Demon hordes from the Abyss are usually encamped there, but many of them perished on the streets of Canabris.
Good thing there was like voice acting here, or otherwise that would have just been me clicking through stuff.
We must attack swiftly before they can restore their forces. When the city is free and the Sword of Valor appears before our soldiers, they won't be sending in any more reinforcements. Demons cannot teleport into an area protected by the banner of the goddess.
What about long-term goals? Do you know how to get rid of the World Wound forever?
Now you are talking like a real knight commander. However, answering your question is not easy. To win this war, we must bar the demon's way. There are a few planar rifts leading to the Abyss across the territory we call the World Wound. The best specialists we could find have tried to close them on separate occasions, with no success, as you may have guessed.
That's alright. I did this in Oblivion, and I'm pretty sure I can close these Oblivion gates.
The World Wound is more than just a chain of portals to the Abyss. We do not understand its nature yet. The methods of rift closure known to magical science simply do not work here. However, we have a hypothesis, and a rather well-grounded one, that we must begin at the source of the problem, the place where the World Wound was opened.
I just go in the portal, I kill a bunch of things, I touch something, and then the portal closes. That's all it takes.
The main rift lies through the city of Iz, and the Threshold Fortress, deep in the former lands of Socorus. We have never managed to fight our way so far and gain a foothold to allow the mages to explore the origins of the World Wound. So, the next step, after you succeed in Dresden, is an offensive push deeper into the World Wound, with the aim of reaching Threshold. The very threshold of the Abyss.
I have no more questions.
Wonderful.
Did you know the souls of angels from heaven are confined in the Wardstone?
I had guessed as much. Many angels fought alongside us in the First Crusade. Heaven was unable to mobilize its full might to aid us, but individual celestials volunteered to fight for our cause. Then one day, they all vanished, saying that they were setting off on an important mission. Not long after, Iomede's herald erected the first wardstone in Canobris, and then the others in cities across Mendev. Even back then, I had nagging doubts, but my faith in Iomede easily assuaged them. It is for us to serve the goddess after all, not to question her works. Nevertheless, I am pleased that you solved the mystery of the wardstone in Canobris, and were able to save this gift of Iomede. It was a deed worthy of a knight commander of the Fifth Crusade.
You should know I received an unusual gift in the caves beneath Canabris. In the vision I saw the death of an angel called Lariel. Somehow he was able to grant me the ability to reveal the light of heaven.
Lariel. I knew him. He disappeared shortly before the World Wound grew, and Dresden fell into the enemy's hands. In the chaos, we had more important concerns than investigating the fate of a single angel. Even one so righteous and beloved as Lariel. And afterward, matters took a turn for the worse. The angels left us to go on this special mission. It is so strange to hear the names I used to hear when I was young, like getting a message from the past. It is sad news, but it brings me back to the times when we strongly believed in our victory, and we rushed headlong toward it without fear. Could it be that such times have come again?
Do you remember this?
This. I thought this relic was destroyed many years ago. How strange it is to see it whole again. At one time, it gave me hope. I am pleased that this object will serve the Crusade once more.
I had a vision of Amadei giving her covenant to you.
I was young and did not fully understand the magnitude of the duty that had been entrusted to me. Iomade gave me hope and strength to see me through the trials ahead, and in so doing, she won my everlasting loyalty.
Do you remember the oath you swore in battle?
Always. No matter how arduous, no matter how dark the skies, no matter how much blood flows from my wounds, I shall stand with you. We shall fight for our loved ones and our friends, for the right to live and die free. We shall do everything we possibly can, and after that, we shall begin to do the impossible. And if the hour should come when our arms can no longer raise our swords, our bodies will become a shield to cover those who still have strength to fight. I, Godfrey, Queen of Mendev, swear this to you. This is my vow.
You withstood a blow from Aruli Vorlith in battle.
I would proudly declare that to be true, and say that even Aurilu Vorlesh could not kill me on her first attempt. But to do so would be boasting. I was protected by my goddess. However, I was glad to see that, no matter how great the betrayer of humanity's power, it is nothing as compared to Iomede's might.
I'd like to keep wearing this relic.
Then so you shall. What matters is that the Covenant of the Inheritor has been recovered. Perhaps it should be in your hands now, because you have greater need of it. But should you ever feel that you no longer need this relic, I ask that you give it to me. I would be delighted to touch it again.
I'll check the relic and see if I need to give it to her. And what are you going to do?
Overlooking a spot of insubordination just at the moment. However, I shall answer you. I shall prepare the defenses at Nerosian and all the other border cities and plan the future of the Fifth Crusade.
I can't do
Does
this.
that satisfy your curiosity, Knight Commander?
Thank you for your reply.
Of course.
The task is clear.
Splendid. Ah, yes. We have one final matter to attend to. It should be rather enjoyable. Count, there you are. You received my instruction?
I did, though I did not have time to read the thing before I was dragged before your majesty. In truth, I was readying myself to depart.
No matter. I trust you will forgive your sovereign for the rather brusque summons, especially when you learn what prompted it. As you are aware, he has recently been appointed my Knight Commander of the Fifth Crusade. I spent a long while pondering whom to appoint to the highly sensitive post of Commander's Field Attaché and Advisor Plenipotentiary without portfolio. Congratulations, Count.
It is a great honor, I suppose.
Rather frivolous gesture for a queen.
The adequacy of any measure can only be assessed against the reason that prompted it. Isn't that so, Count? I had my doubts about whether you were ready for such a responsibility, Count, but your conduct in Kenobris has put my mind at ease. So, you will travel with the troops to Dresden.
Oh, I guess he's not going anywhere.
The commander may remove you from your post, but I trust that you will dutifully fulfill his orders and make a good showing of yourself. Especially since word of your appointment, Count, will reach the court at any moment. All of Mendev's nobility will be following your successes in service to the nation, including all of your devoted admirers. I even heard that one bard with whom you are particularly friendly has already begun composing a ballad to honor your heroic participation in the crusade and your faithful service to the commander here.
Your largesse truly knows no bounds, dear cousin. I am most gratified by the honor you have shown me.
Count bows his head, either as a sign of respect or in order to hide his flushed face. Only the bear's quiver can be heard in his voice.
Then let's get going. May Ayomade help us.
Yomade. Did we lose? Yeah, we did. Dang it. I don't know why my keys go out every once in a while. I think it's like the hotkeys that I have set up for my stream. I've had problems with other games and it doing that before. That's right, I'm looting my own tent. Navy sweeps an inquisitive look over. So tell me straight, how did the brawl at the Grey Garrison go? I heard the rumors, of course, it's kind of my job, you know, to listen. You have no idea what other cobblers the Crusaders say about. Some say Amadai came to you and appointed you her herald. Others say that you died, and honest to God's angel is now leading the army disguised as you. Still, others say it was just an explosion in the alchemist lab. And I'm the one spreading the rumor about your powers. I wish. You know, you really have changed since the Grey Garrison. It's hard to describe, but you have some kind of... more stately? More dangerous. I have a gut instinct about things. If I didn't, I'd already be dead. You're dangerous, Commander, and by Desna, I hope you'll be dangerous to our enemies, and not to us. Or to yourself. Tell me about yourself. I'd be happy to, but there's kind of nothing to tell. What's so interesting about me? Where are you from? Nowhere. I was blown in by the wind and found in a cabbage patch. He stopped short. Sorry, that's an old habit of mine. I don't like blabbing about my past, but you saved my skin, so I guess I kind of owe it to you. Not to clown around, right? I'm from Nidal, and I wouldn't wish my homeland on my worst enemy. You've heard of the place, I'm sure, ruled by monsters that are alive nor dead, and the official religion is the cult of Zon Kuthon. I grew up in a slum, like a weeds between the cobblestones. I didn't have a dad, but I had lots of aunts and uncles. My mom's cronies. No prize for guessing the kind of business she was involved in. They gave me a set of lockpicks as soon as I could hold a spoon, and while other kids were picking their noses, I was picking pockets. When I was 12, the monks of the Silent Shroud came for me, creepy guys with their mouths sewn shut. They're the guard in Nisrach. Mom gave me to her friends, and we hid in the secret temple of Desna. I never saw my mom again. I lay low in the temple for the next few years, kept my head down. I washed floors, fetched water, listened to sermons. Funny thing, after a while I started liking Desna's teachings, but as soon as I was old enough, I was out of there. I left Nidal and got as far away as I could. Quite a ragtag group we've got here, from nobles to street thieves. You got that right. Only the best for you. What do you do if the knights and the nobles fail to save the world? The lowlifes are our only hope. How did you meet Irbeth? I was bumming around Timon a while back, doing this and that. Desna Temple sometimes gave me odd jobs, you know, sometimes they needed people with skills like mine. On the surface it was fine, I guess. After Nidal, the freedom of River Kingdom should have seemed like heaven, my chance to sit back and enjoy life. But I wasn't happy. There just wasn't any joy in my life. I was all alone. No one cared about me, and I didn't care about anybody either. I struggled to find a reason to drag myself out of bed in the morning. Tying a stone around my neck and jumping into the nearest river started to look pretty appealing. One day, I was hired to follow some fellows who local authorities suspected were Rasmirian spies. I was stupid. I made a rookie mistake and they caught me. It's like my body had already decided to do what my mind had been fighting, to finally put me out of my misery. Get someone else to kill me. Since I didn't have the guts to do it myself, they grabbed me. I thought they'd gut me on the spot, but instead they hogtied me and dragged me off. And just like an animal going to slaughter, my only thought was, let's get this over with. They brought me to this stinking cave, threw me on the altar, and I realized who it was. Cuthidis from Nidal. They tracked me down after all those years, but I didn't care anymore. Wouldn't have even cared if they had eaten me or whatever. We all gotta go sometimes, right? So I was lying there, staring at those knives pointing at me, when a fate rolled the dice and I hit the jackpot. Irbeth. There she was, storming into the cave. Picture it. I'm lying on the altar with knife-wielding maniacs around me, and suddenly Erebeth storms in. I thought it was Amadai herself, fierce in her shining armor with her... or what is it? Iomedae. Sorry. Iomedae herself, fierce in her shining armor with her gleaming sword raised. She made quick work of those scumbags, chopped them up just like that. I didn't even have time to blink. She untied me, and then... Anivia's face lights up and she chuckles. She looked through the paper they had on the table. She started swearing like a sailor. So much for Iomedae. How did you and Erebeth end up in Canebras? After almost becoming a human sacrifice, I knew I never wanted to leave Erebeth's side. Desna knows. I fell for her instantly. I fell hard. My misery was gone, and when Erebeth showed me what was in those papers, proof that the cultist had never had a nest in her home city, well, I offered to help without a second thought. She must have figured out I couldn't wait to get my revenge on the cultists, but I didn't give a damn about them. It was her. I'd go anywhere with her, even on a crusade, or in the jaws of a dragon. But I took a life in Canebras like a duck to water. I used to be an outcast wherever I went, but half of the crusaders are the same. After all, who would volunteer to tangle with the demons on the edge of the abyss? You gotta be either a goody two-shoes with too much honor or free time, or a misfit with no life out in the normal world with normal people. People come here to run away from the debts, their past, from themselves, so I fit right in. What's it like living with Erebeth? It's like living with her. It wouldn't be, seriously, if I were alone. I'd definitely be gone by now. Sure, sometimes we argue, can't deny that. Sometimes we bang our fists on the table and yell so loudly that the walls shake. But that's all about Order's business. But at home, well, I'll give you an example. I've kind of always wanted to move out of the broom closet we call a house and into something cozier. It ain't like they take a vow of poverty at the Eagle Watch, but every month, somehow, most of our spare money is spent on a crusade business. Sure, I get mad about it, and maybe it makes a helpless gesture. It's part of why I love her so much. You know, Erebeth has that thing that matters most for a person, a purpose in life. She has always got a reason for whatever she's doing. Her whole life is a crusade, and I just drifted around like a leaf in the wind until Desna brought us together. Now she's the meaning of my life, so it really makes no difference if we live in a mansion or under a bush. Thank you for your answer. Thank you for asking. Telling you all this kind of made me feel better. I have to go. Alright. You watch yourself. What does that mean? Did you just threaten me? No, sure. Alright, what do we have? All the loot. I'm gonna go outside. Who pillaged my tent? Where's that buckle? Nope. Is that around here? We still need to ask her about that. Oh, there it is. The heirloom. All party members in 30 foot get +2 bonus to... Okay. This is a symbol in one place emits... When placed on the belt, emits a holy order. All party members in 30 foot get +2 bonus to casting level checks to overcome spell resistance. Okay. If it's gonna be spellcasters, should give it to Ember. There we go.
Beautiful.
Master, how can I serve you? That army of mongrels you promised me would be useful right about now. Yes, they will be useful in this campaign. If we had more time and weren't in a hurry, we'd go to Sol and show him the trophies we took from the demons. He had stood shaking in fear in some of the tribes, but the way I see it, we don't have time to waste right now. We'll have to deal with Sol after we conquer Dresden. Thank you for talking to me. God, you lied. I want my horde of
Let's see what we can
people
do.
eaters. Commander, allow me to ask you to say something. Before you, this wasn't a war, it was agony, drawn out over decades. No one believes in the victory anymore. When the demons attacked the city, for some, it was a relief. At least the end had come. They laid down their weapons and surrendered without a fight. I felt the same thing, but I somehow got through the stubbornness and the vague hope that if nobody found Anivia's body, she might, by some miracle, have survived. And that miracle was you. You returned my beloved to me when I nearly lost all hope of seeing her alive. Then you went on a suicide mission to Grey Garrison and won the city back for us. You turned a defeat into a victory. I know it wasn't easy, but you might make everything seem so effortlessly. You do everything just like that, she says with a snap of her finger. The Queen believes in your power, but for me, they're just more proof of what I felt that day when I saw Anivia alive, standing next to you. You're the miracle we've been waiting for. You're the one who will finally put an end to the terrible war, and in spite of everything, deliver us the victory we so desperately need with you. I'm sure this crusade will achieve what the others could not. I found a scabbard with your family name on it. Arvilla looks down. The scabbard held in the solemn hour with my family's sword. My father once fought with it, and I took it when I left home to become a paladin. Alas, it was stolen. I parted with the heirloom willingly to help someone dear to me. Anivia needed expensive healing, and I, having no other way to procure the money, I pawned my father's sword. I think he would have understood. I'm sure he would have given up everything to help the family. Cool. So I gave it back. I hoped to redeem the solemn hour eventually, but there was never enough money, and soon the sword disappeared from the pawn shop altogether. I have no idea who took it. Seems like I have to part with my father's sword forever. It's foolish to part with your weapon in the middle of war. Perhaps I acted rashly, but I have no other option. My parents were loyal servants, yet it wasn't enough to earn my title or coat of arms. Still, however humble our name might be, it is worth something. I don't know if I'll ever see the solemn hour again, but alas, I have its scabbard back. Thank you. So it turns out the Queen has her head of counterintelligence watching me. I wonder why. You think the Queen doesn't trust you? If that were true, she would have put you in charge of the army. My main task is to be your advisor until you gain enough experience as a commander. As for counterintelligence, Anivia and I were tasked with keeping an eye on your inner circle, but you're not under suspicion, Commander. You're under our protection. We need reinforcements. Can you get me soldiers? When we began the march on Dresden, we chose speed over numbers. Okay, 7,500 gold coins. Okay. If I order more volunteers to be recruited, they simply won't arrive in time. We could pay mages to deliver the troops to the camps, but I doubt that our army coffers could afford it. You can spare 7,500 gold coins. I will see to your reinforcements. Okay, so perhaps later. It's hard to believe your origin. I think this is like how you make a character, right? It's hard to believe your origin is so humble. You deserve a noble title more than many who inherit them. Thank you, Commander. It's an honor to hear that, especially from you. Every noble family begins somewhere. You must have heard the recent story from the Stolen Lands in the River Kingdom. Just imagine coming from nowhere and making it all the way to the royal crown in just a few years. Because he's a badass. Sometimes I wonder what would happen if I managed to distinguish myself somewhere. But then I push away such unworthy, selfish thoughts, of course. We don't fight for rewards. The fate of the world is at stake. And yet, your best blushes deep, and she falls silent. Alright, I have to go. Your Beth says goodbye with a short bow. Okay. So we're gonna have to meet the rest of my... outfit, aren't we?
I can
Alright,
handle
who's
it.
this guy? I think I will save him for next time. Because I have a feeling he's going to want to talk a lot. Let's just give this one a go, and then we'll call it. Alright. Commander, tall man with piercing yellow-green eyes gives you a brief nod. Let me personally congratulate you on your new title, and thank you for your time in advance. I am Leotor Hawkblade, an Inquisitor of the Church of Iamade. Okay. The Bringer of Light. I require your assistance in a certain delicate matter involving one of your companions, young Count Darian Arende. Are you one of the Prelude Horon followers? Yes, of course. What is your opinion on atrocities? Usually people reveal such things about themselves only to their confessor, not to some curious stranger. Still, I did ask for your help and impose certain obligations upon me. Let me put it like this. I spent enough years by the Prelate Horon's side to learn how to keep him from going over the line. The Prelate is an extraordinary man, but he has fallen prey to his own paranoia and monumental sense of responsibility, which has gradually eroded his razor-sharp mind. He has witnessed so much hideous darkness that he now sees it in every shadow, yet his strength was, and still is, a shield for all of the people of Mendev. That is my opinion. His comrades and advisors are necessary to prevent him from making unforgivable mistakes. Where were you during the attack on Kenabris? I was on the hunt, a very successful one. But, as often happens in life, this minor success was a mere harbinger of a large failure. If I hadn't been so far away from Kenabris on the day of the attack, I might have been able to help my comrades and prevent a number of deaths. Okay, well, thank you for your answer. It is not an easy topic for me. I prefer not to discuss this again. So, what brings you here? I asked you to assist the Church of Ahmadai in the investigation of the utmost importance. I understand that the leader of the crusade has plenty of other matters to attend to, but please allow me to tell you the details. Perhaps it will explain why I'm calling upon you. The Inquisitor's open face instantly reveals his feelings. He frowns and looks through you, lost in thought for a moment. I suppose that you have already heard about Count Arendai's story. I refer to the tragedy of Heaven's Estate. I know about this. We don't really need to do Heaven's Edge Estate. We know what happened there. You're going to investigate this old case again, aren't you? Yes, I am. I have several reasons to doubt a widely shared account of what exactly happened at the estate and how it happened. You see, Commander, I was among the sent to examine the estate after the incident. I saw everything with my own eyes, and I still remember it clearly, even though it feels like it happened a lifetime ago. Heaven's Edge was a unique place that still carries the spirit of old Mendev. Mendev before the World Wound, and yet on the day it turned into a labyrinth house of horrors, like something only seen in our nightmares. Apologies for the digression. I want to tell you about my suspicion. Everything about the incident seems odd. Why was the only person left alive a young boy with a newfound talent for divine magic? Why did nobody send to Kenabres for help, even though the agony spanned many hours? We found the demon dead, with their heads cut off when we got into the state. How were they defeated? How did the disease kill even the paladins present in the state, who are said to be immune to any disease? If the demons had found a way to prevent the Holy Warrior's defenses, penetrate the Holy Warrior's defenses, why has this never been repeated since the tragedy of Heaven's Edge? You're the only person who can help me, Commander, because the only living witness of these events is currently serving in your army. Your army route will take you near the very site of the tragedy. Heaven's Edge has been abandoned and sealed with potent magic throughout all these years, and the only Count has the power to break that seal. He is unlikely to invite the Inquisitor inside, and in any case, he won't like me sniffing around his family's seat. But if you, as his commander, express your wish to visit the estate, he will be obliged to fulfill it, and I will simply follow you as one of your attendees. There are 100 ways, 1,000 paths, and a myriad of loopholes in human lives that force of evil can use to their advantage. I'm not sure which one of these led the demons to the gates of Heaven's Edge, but I do know it wasn't a simple raid. The kind of crusaders face every day. The incident involves a significant, more powerful entity, and that is why I'm asking for your help. We cannot be sure that such a tragedy will not happen again until we uncover the truth. You've already been to the state several times, so what do you expect to find now? I was young and experienced Inquisitor when I first visited Heaven's Edge 10 years ago. My skills have improved significantly since then, and I have paid dearly for it. My arsenal includes many spells and techniques dedicated to gathering information about people and events. Almost all of them require me to physically be present in the place where the event in question happened. That is why I must return to Heaven's Edge. Why can't you just search the estate yourself? The estate is abandoned and sealed with a powerful containment enchantment that only Count himself can lift. This is not the main reason, however. The main reason is that Count Arendai is not officially under investigation by the Inquisition, so I couldn't just break into the house even if I found a way to bypass the spell. This is a serious matter, a matter that threatens the reputation of the entire Church of Iomade and my own organization in particular. We made more than enough unforgivable mistakes during the Third Crusade and are still dealing with the consequences. Crusades are terrible. Your presence will give my investigation the necessary legitimacy, Commander, but there is more. In addition to getting official permission, I'd also like to bring the independent third-party investigation to this case. Someone independent but well-respected, and you fit this role perfectly. Did you question Darren himself? I did, but the Count insisted he couldn't remember anything about the incident due to severe shock. He saw the demon at the very beginning when they appeared at the celebration to announce the onset of the plague and mock their victims. He also witnessed the death of his mother, Count Selena. That was all he would tell. We had found the young Count sleeping like a log on the floor in one of the rear chambers, having drunk about half of the family wine cellar by himself. There was no reason to disbelieve him on that matter. So you suspect that he's hiding something, that he's to blame for the tragedy? I deliberately refuse to entertain any theories or suspicions that it doesn't affect the investigation. There is a saying among the colleagues that suspicion is the mother of prejudice, and prejudice is married to failure. I can only tell you that Count Arendai was suffering from the demonic possession, the most common malaise in our country at the time. Prelate Holrun himself examined the boy right after the tragedy, and he didn't sense anything awry with him. Fine, I'll help you. What do you need me to do? Thank you, Commander. Now I ask you to speak to the Count and tell him that you wish to see Heaven's Edge. Please do not inform him of my presence right away. I will join your escort when the time is right, the time to travel to the state. When we get there, I will also require your help during the investigation. You'll have to follow me, observing my action as an independent witness. If you have any other questions, please feel free to ask. Alright, I have to go. Because I have to go. I'm going to get some sleep. I will see everyone tomorrow. It'll probably be a late start tomorrow because I'm going to be at the gym for quite a bit. But we should start around 7, or actually no, it'll be around 8:30, 9 p.m. Eastern. We'll go for a couple hours. And yeah. Thanks everyone for stopping by. Thank you, Amphion, for the follow. Phantom, Ignarts, Cap Drago, and Sergeant Nugget. Thank you all for stopping by and hanging out. I will see everyone tomorrow.